Once upon a time, in a bustling market of Renaissance Italy, there was a merchant named Vincenzo. Unlike other merchants, he didn't dress in fine silks or wear flashy jewels. Instead, Vincenzo wore simple clothes and had an unassuming demeanor. He was not the man you'd expect to see negotiating lucrative trade deals. Yet, he always seemed to get the best bargains, and his customers were fiercely loyal. How did he do it? Vincenzo had mastered a powerful but counterintuitive strategy, the art of looking poor. And in this video, we're going to explore why that's more of a secret weapon than you might think. The power of appearing humble or even poor has worked wonders for people throughout history, from merchants to philosophers to modern-day billionaires. It's a strategy that flies in the face of our instincts. In a world that prizes wealth, status, and the need to stand out, could looking poor actually be the key to real influence and success? If you're curious, stick around. And before we dive in, don't forget to like this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps the channel and lets me keep bringing you content like this. Human beings are social creatures, and we are incredibly visual. We instinctively judge people based on appearances. This is an evolutionary trait. Back in ancient times, we needed to assess threats quickly and determine the social standing of others. But what happens when appearances are deceiving? What happens when someone deliberately downplays their wealth or power? There's an interesting psychology to this. When people see someone who doesn't flaunt their wealth, they feel more comfortable around them. There's less intimidation, less jealousy, and more empathy. Imagine you're walking down the street and you meet two people. One is dressed in designer clothes with gold watches, while the other is wearing jeans and a worn-out hoodie. Whom would you feel more comfortable asking for directions? This phenomenon isn't just about comfort, it's also about trust. People are more inclined to trust those who appear modest because we tend to associate modesty with honesty. In contrast, someone who is flashy might appear as though they have something to prove, or worse, something to hide. History is filled with examples of individuals who understood the power of looking poor. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for instance. Gandhi dressed in the simplest of clothes, a dhoti that he often spun himself. His attire was not a reflection of his inability to dress richly, but a deliberate choice. By looking poor, Gandhi aligned himself with the masses. He became a symbol of the struggle of the common people, and this made his message infinitely more powerful. People saw themselves in him. His modest appearance was a strategic decision that helped him gain influence and mobilize millions. Another example is Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln came from humble beginnings, and he never tried to hide that fact. Instead, he embraced it. During his political career, Lincoln's image as a trail splitter and a man of the people helped him connect with voters. His humble appearance and background were not liabilities. They were assets that allowed him to bridge the gap between himself and the common citizen. In today's world, many of the wealthiest individuals have adopted the strategy of looking poor. Or at least, looking unassuming. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on the planet, still lives in the same house he bought in the 1950s. He drives a modest car, and he's often seen eating at McDonald's. This isn't because Buffett can't afford luxury. Obviously, he can, but because he understands the value of appearing relatable. By living modestly, Buffett sends a powerful message. Wealth doesn't have to change who you are. It also makes him more trustworthy in the eyes of the public. People look at Buffett and think, he is a man who isn't letting money corrupt him. His reputation for frugality is part of what makes him so respected. Mark Zuckerberg is another example. For years, Zuckerberg was known for his simple attire: jeans, a grey t-shirt, and a hoodie. It wasn't just about comfort. It was a deliberate move to project an image of a down-to-earth techie, someone who was more focused on building something revolutionary than on buying fancy suits. This approach allowed him to blend in with his team and maintain an aura of relatability, even as his wealth skyrocketed. One of the greatest advantages of looking poor is that it can disarm people. In social dynamics, power can often create barriers. When someone appears wealthy, others may feel envy or inferiority, which can hinder genuine connection. By appearing modest, those barriers come down. People feel less threatened and more willing to engage openly. Let's consider the story of Miyamoto Musashi, one of Japan's greatest swordsmen. Musashi was known for his unkempt appearance. He wore simple clothes and carried wooden swords. His opponents often underestimated him because of his humble look, and that was their downfall. Musashi's power lay in the fact that he didn't need to show off. He let his actions speak for themselves. The same principle applies in negotiations and business. If you enter a room flaunting your wealth, people immediately put their guard up. They're less likely to trust you and more likely to be suspicious of your intentions. However, if you come across as humble, they're more likely to let their guard down and see you as an equal rather than a threat. Before I proceed, count yourself as an exception for making it this far into the video. Now that you have shown how strong you are, let's make it till the end of the video. It's this kind of perseverance that separates those who learn from those who merely consume. In the age of social media, where everyone seems to be flaunting their best life, the power of looking poor takes on a new meaning. We live in a world where Instagram influencers curate images of luxury. The perfect vacation, the perfect outfit, the perfect meal. But increasingly, people are growing wary of this kind of content. There's a shift happening. Authenticity is becoming more valuable than perfection. Think about content creators who have risen to fame by showcasing a more real version of their lives. Instead of luxury cars and designer clothes, they share the mundane, everyday struggles. And people love it. Why? Because it's relatable, it feels genuine. By not flaunting wealth, these creators build a deeper connection with their audience. In the business world, this approach can be incredibly powerful. Imagine a startup founder who dresses simply and works out of a modest office. Investors might see this as a sign that the founder is focused on the product, not on impressing others with superficial displays of success. It's the under, promise and over-deliver approach. People set lower expectations, and when you exceed them, the impact is much greater. There's also a practical side to looking poor. It saves money. By not spending on flashy items, you're able to allocate resources where they truly matter. This is especially important for entrepreneurs and business owners. Every dollar saved by not buying a luxury car can be invested back into the business, into marketing, product development, or hiring talented people. Beyond just saving money, looking poor can also be a strategic economic move. If people believe you don't have much, they're less likely to try to take advantage of you. Think of negotiations. If the other party thinks you're strapped for cash, they might offer you better terms because they believe you can't afford to walk away. It's a tactic that can level the playing field. Sometimes looking poor is about safety. Flaunting wealth can make you a target for thieves, scammers, or even just people looking to exploit you. By appearing modest, you avoid drawing unwanted attention. This is especially relevant in today's world, where personal safety can often be linked to how much you display your wealth. Take, for instance, travelers. Seasoned travelers know that looking flashy in an unfamiliar place can make you a target for pickpockets or scams. By dressing down and blending in, you're far less likely to be singled out. It's a form of camouflage, and it works. Even in social circles, looking poor can help you avoid toxic relationships. When people see you as wealthy, some may try to befriend you for the wrong reasons. They might want something from you: money, connections, or status. By looking modest, you filter out those who are only interested in superficial gains, allowing you to build more meaningful, genuine relationships. So, How can you harness the power of looking poor? It's not about pretending to be something you're not, but rather about embracing simplicity and authenticity. First, avoid the temptation to show off. If you get a big bonus at work, do you really need to buy that luxury watch? Or could you invest that money in something that will provide value in the long term? The key is to focus on what truly matters, whether it's financial security, personal growth, or relationships. Second, practice humility in your interactions. You don't need to tell people how much you earn or what kind of car you drive. Let your actions speak louder than your words. People will respect you more for it, and they'll be more inclined to trust you. Lastly, remember that looking poor doesn't mean neglecting yourself. It's not about wearing rag clothes or living in squalor. It's about rejecting unnecessary extravagance and embracing a more grounded, purposeful way of living. The power of looking poor isn't really about money. It's about perception, influence, and freedom. It's about choosing how you want to be seen in a world that often values the wrong things. By appearing modest, you gain trust, build stronger connections, and ultimately have more control over your life. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Comment the word humility down below so I know you're one of the few who stayed till the end. Let's continue this conversation and explore the power of authenticity together. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, remember, real power often lies in what you choose not to show.